Alrighty, fellow travelers, welcome back to the Adventures of a Traveling Don. My name is Benjamin O, and today we are going to be climbing the highest mountain here in Acadia National Park, the Cadillac Mountain. So come on and let's go get hiking. So this climb to Cadillac Mountain is going to be a little unique because most people, when they do Cadillac Mountain, if they're going to do the hike, they'll go to either the north or the south ridge with their car, park, and then hike up and come back down. Or a lot of people will, of course, get a day pass, which I'll go into later, to go up to the peak. However, since I don't have a car this particular season, I'm going to show you how to get there directly from Bar Harbor. So it's going to be a bit of a longer walk and a little bit of a longer hike than most people are used to. However, we're going to do it because we got to get that exercise, and I want to show you how you can do it if you don't have a car here from Bar Harbor to get up to Cadillac. All right, so when you are heading from Bar Harbor, the first couple of streets to kind of go through is you're coming down Main Street, you take a right on Park Street, go all the way down Park Street, and then you head through small little Norris Avenue until you get to Spring Street. This is when you'll have your first kind of incline coming all the way up until you get to Cromwell Harbor. This is now start of the Great Meadow Loop. This is just outside of the Bar Harbor Cemetery. So basically this will be your first main point to start on the first trail heading up to Cadillac. Okay, so for your second step getting up to Cadillac Mountain from Bar Harbor is to head towards the Kebo Brook Trail. So this is going to be your second step. What you're going to want to do is you're going to come down through the Great Meadow Loop, and you're basically right across the street from the Kebo Brook Trail entrance is the Kebo Brook golf course. And there is also the Holy Redeemer cemetery, right? So it's a secondary cemetery right next to it. So if you go past the cemetery, you've gone past where you need to go, but you want to go for the Kebo Brook Trail. So that's where we're going to go next. So I will say areas like this along the Kebo Brook Trail, particularly Kebo Brook itself, is what I really love about this trail. It's very easily accessible from Bar Harbor, even if you don't go all the way up Cadillac. If you just walk the trail and back, which is a good, you know, it's almost like 2 miles there, 2 miles back, you can get about 4 miles of exercise, and it's not too strenuous. But you get to areas like this where it's like, just listen to the water. And there's not a lot of people that take this trail. So if you really kind of want to get out of Bar Harbor while staying in, you know, when you're staying in Bar Harbor, come out here to Kebo Brook Trail. It's just an easy walk, and it's just, you kind of just get away from the sights and sounds of the town, which can be a little crazy sometimes. So, but yeah, I really love this trail. Okay, so we've now come to our next kind of divergence in the path, and you can actually get up to Cadillac both of these ways. However, the main path that we're taking is still the Kebo Brook Trail, which heads towards the Cadillac north side, which is the kind of like where the parking bit is. However, there is the Gorge path as well, which I highly recommend just doing the Gorge path in and of itself. It is beautiful, particularly during the fall. We were about a week or two too early for a lot of the colors, but it is a beautiful, beautiful, amazing path, and we'll probably come back down it as we come back down the other way from Cadillac. However, you still want to keep on the Kebo Brook Trail going this way. This is a little bit of, shall we say, the easier path. Not necessarily the quickest path, but the easier path, because when you go north-south in any of these hikes here in Acadia National Park, it's a bit more, it's longer of a trail, but they are much more kind of like, you know, steady upcline. Whereas if we go down the Gorge path, which you'll probably see when we come down, it is much steeper going up and down. So, but anyway, yeah, just want to let you know, you will find this kind of this split in the path here, and you're going to want to continue right on Kebo Brook Trail. Okay, so now we have officially made it to the start of the Cadillac North Ridge Trail. So this is right off of the Park Loop Road. So if you are driving the Park Loop Road, you eventually will come around to this area. And then they do have a parking lot. There is kind of minimal space there, so sometimes you may or may not be able to find a parking spot. There is also, I believe, about 1/10 of a mile that way is the Island Explorer bus stop for Cadillac. So, you know, you get off there and you can take the bus, the Island Explorer bus stop, or a bus. It is free. And you get off on that bus stop, just come down the road here, and you'll start on that trail right there. So, but anyway, we're going to start going up Cadillac Mountain officially. Okay, so something a little unexpected that you're going to want to watch out for when you're here in Acadia National Park is that there are at times when they have to work on the trails. And sometimes they'll shut off the trails entirely, and other times they'll have like a detour going on, so where we'll be going around. Usually when you're doing Cadillac, you'll be going out that way, but they did make a detour for us to get to the summit. So it's just something to be aware of whenever you come here in Acadia National Park. Sometimes they are working on the trails and they'll either shut them down entirely or make detours. So just be ready for that. Well, finally made it to the first kind of outlook that you'll find here in Cadillac Mountain, and you just kind of start being able to see over the trees. And you just get you got Bar Island in the background. It actually looks like the sandbar is up and available right now. So won't be by the time we get back down. Remember, you have a 3-hour window for that. But yeah, you start seeing all of Frenchman's Bay. We got that big old cruise ship in the background there as well. Thank God I'm up here, because when the cruise ships are in town, it's another way to kind of like, if you're in Bar Harbor and you don't have a car, or even if you have a car, get out of town when the cruise ships come, because they drop off anywhere from like 3,000 to like 6,000 people in that little town from about 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So get the hell out of Dodge until about 4 o'clock, particularly during the fall time, September, October, because it gets wild in town. All right, so we have basically made it to about the halfway point. There's really no marker for it, but this is just kind of like basically about, I think we're about 800, 900 feet up elevation right now. Currently, maybe a little higher than that, but it's about 1.1, 1.2 miles in to the 2.2 mile hike that is from the beginning of the North Ridge Trail all the way up to the peak in the background, which is Cadillac Mountain. But just wanted to kind of give you, this is another great overview. This is where it starts to get a little bit more bare up here. You're gonna have a bit more options for views, less trees, because this is, you know, Mount Desert Island was called Mount Desert literally because when I think it was Champlain was one of the original explorers here on Mount Desert Island. When he got up to the top of the mountains, it was almost like to him it was like a desert. A lot of these trees weren't necessarily here at the time, so it was much more bare up here than it is even today, so back in the 1700s. But yeah, anyway, it's great views of the bay around, and we're gonna continue on up, but I thought I'd just kind of take a little breather, get myself a little bit of water, and just showcase kind of this little spot right here. When you see it open up like this is the halfway point. While I'm up here at the halfway point resting, I did want to give a big ol' shout out to my newest Patreon members, the Ulrey family, Keith, Laura, and of course little Ellen and Elaine, my favorite little fans. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys have been some of the biggest supporters ever since I started this channel. I even got to meet you guys when you guys came up here last year, and that was a beautiful, beautiful time. Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. And if you guys want to join the Patreon page and help support this channel, I will leave a link in the description below for my Patreon, or of course my Buy Me a Coffee account as well. But again, I wanted to give a big ol' shout out to the Ulrey family. Thank you so much. I do apologize, I missed you on this particular trip up. I know you guys were in Acadia before I got up here, and we just kind of weren't able to connect this time, but I do so much appreciate all the support from you guys. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and hit the next part of this trail. So I will say, after the halfway point is where the most difficult part of the hike is. Between the stairs that you saw back a little bit earlier and this area right here, scramble up the rocks. This is where it kind of just, you get a lot of that last half of the elevation, but do get some good views along the way. But yeah, this is where it really puts you to the test. Another tip for you as we're slowly closing in on the summit, which is right behind us over there. Once you get up to about this elevation, we're probably close to about 1200. It starts to get very bare, and it gets very windy up here. You'll even see it more so when we get up to the peak. But definitely just make sure that, particularly around this time of the year where fall's starting to set in here in September, even if it's warm down there, always bring some kind of windbreaker or a sweater or something for when you get up here, because the temperature drops by like 10, sometimes 15 degrees with that wind chill. Because all of a sudden I got up here to this bare spot, and I was like, oh, that's chilly, particularly with all the sweat that I've been doing. It just hits the wind hits that sweat, and it just gets all cold. So I had to put my sweater on. So just a pro tip for you when you're hiking Cadillac Mountain. All right, we're almost near the top. It's kind of the last real climb on the way there, but we're almost there. So right before you hit the peak, you're gonna have a couple of different branch offs, and one of the ones is called the Hawk's Watch. And it's just kind of like this outlet here where you can kind of come, and you're supposed to be able to see hawks out here at certain times of the day. It looks like the sky is pretty clear right now, but yeah, if you're a bird watcher, this is definitely a place to come and check out, and maybe grab a glimpse of a nice hawk. Hiking tip number, what am I up to over the last couple of years? 2,339? Make sure that your water bottles are always safely secure and tightened when they're in your backpack. So if they fall over on the side, they don't leak out. Otherwise, you get this. Look at that. Look at that. Even on the butt. Sorry, I didn't mean to show you my butt. But yeah, just all of a sudden I was like, what is leaking down my leg? And then I was like, oh, it's leaking out the bottom of my backpack. Everything's all wet. You know, my butt's wet, my leg's wet, everything's wet. Lovely. So yeah, tip number 2,339. Screw on the bottle cap of your water very tightly, just in case it tips over before you end up with a wet ass like myself. Alrighty, so we have made it to the top of Cadillac, and as you can see, you have the best views anywhere here on the island of the entire eastern side and the northeast side of the island, including Schoodic Point way out in the background, which I've done a couple videos about before, all the different islands, Winter Harbor, going off into the mainland. Of course, you have the oversight of Bar Harbor itself. It is an amazing, amazing place. It does get very crowded up here, I will say that. The trail up, you don't really find so many people actually hiking the trails, but once you get up here, because they have a huge parking lot that of course accommodates the buses as well, you get big tours that'll come up here. So depending on what time of the day that you're up here, it can be absolutely packed. Now, to come up here by car, you do need a day pass, so you have to go to the Acadia National Park website and get your day passes for that. I think just a regular day pass is cheaper, and then they have specific ones limited for the sunrise and sunset. I'll be honest with you, the sunset is not necessarily worth it here because it is a little bit harder. You have to go to a certain point on the loop. It's not here for this main part because this faces east. This is the most famous part of Cadillac, and it's the one that faces east for the sunrise. Now, the sunrise is fantastic. However, the sunrise is almost kind of like a 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 chance of actually getting a good sunrise, because a lot of times it's still super foggy. You can't really see it, or sometimes the weather is bad, it's raining, things like that. So it is a gamble. But if you can get up here for a perfect sunrise, it's the first point in the United States that you can actually see a sunrise. So it is really really cool. The sunset is all right, but there's better places on the island for a sunset picture, to be honest with you. But it is definitely worth the view coming up here, and definitely that big old hike. If you think coming directly from Bar Harbor, walking all the way, I think I did about 4.4 miles, which I have to do going back. So we are getting our exercise in today. But anyway, yeah, this is the top of Cadillac Mountain. If you're going to take the gorge path down like I'm doing right now, it is the quicker way to get down the mountain. It is steeper, but it is the quicker way. One of the things that you have to make use of is the blue markers that are on the rocks that show you the way to the path. Because up here on the first part of Gorge Path, if you're coming down from Cadillac, it can be a little tough to kind of find it because it looks like you can go almost anywhere up in this mountain summit. So trying to find exactly where the path is where you have to basically take from the sign and follow the blue markers. And that's with any hiking trail here in Acadia National Park, but specifically when you're in the Gorge Path, when you're up here, it's as you see, it's easy to kind of be like, oh, let's go over here, because you can go over those places, but that's not the path. So just a little tip. Holy crap. So yeah, it's not very long, but it is very rocky, very steep. You are using those lower muscles like all hell. Oh my God. My legs are shaking right now. That was tough, particularly after everything else I've done. Oh, that was the lower part is just like, ugh. But still got a long way to go to get back. But it's once you hit this part of the gorge path, as you can see, becomes more of the forest. This becomes a lot easier. Now you can actually hit Door Mountain Summit. As you can see, the sign here, the sign says 0.3 miles to get to Door Mountain Summit. So it's not too much of a climb to get back up to Door Mountain. So you can actually do 2 peaks in one time if you so choose. I am running out of light and running out of legs. So we're actually gonna go all the way back to Bar Harbor. But yeah, just wanted to showcase the gorge path. Quickest way down from Cadillac, but it can take it out of you, particularly in your lower extremities going down. So that's all right. I'll just soak in an Epsom salt bath tonight and we'll be good. Well, all right, onwards. All right, it's not as hard, but it's a lot longer. This particular stretch has been rather difficult. It's not as steep, but it's just continuous down. It's like, oh, different parts of my muscles. So, but that's all right. Been working up to this hike, and probably wouldn't have been able to do this, you know, a couple months ago, but now I'm feeling pretty good. Also, this is freaking epic right here. It's like just, I love the sides of the mountains here in Acadia just because there's so much character to them. Just absolutely amazing. Another great thing about the Gorge Path is the fact that halfway down you run into this stream that you follow along for the rest of the path, and it's really kind of nice. Again, like I did when we were over at Kebo Brook, just the sounds of the water, being out here literally by myself. This is kind of a great escape when you want to kind of get away from all of that here in Bar Harbor. So yeah, so definitely recommend this whole path that I'm doing. It is tough. It is a long hike. I mean, by the time we get back to Bar Harbor, it's gonna be close to about 9 miles, but it's well worth it. And outside of being at the peak of Cadillac and along the North Ridge Trail, you know, you don't really deal with too much and you kind of get away from it all. So, but anyway, let's continue on before my legs give out. Okay, so now we've gotten close towards the end of the Gorge Path, but however, before you head towards, basically, the Gorge Path ends on the Park Loop Road. What you want to do though is you don't want to end up there, because otherwise then you have to walk along the Park Loop Road to eventually find another route. So here on the Gorge Path there is a fork in the road basically, and you want to take the Hemlock Trail. So we're going to go this way off the Hemlock Trail and head towards like the trail, like the Jessup Trail that leads to the Wild Gardens of Acadia, and that is the direct route that goes back to Bar Harbor. So Hemlock Trail it is. Whew. All right, I finally made it down from the Hemlock Trail. It's not bad, but it is, again, rocky, and there's a bit of steps. You have to remember, you're coming all the way up from Cadillac, which is about 1,500, so it's a long way down. But, all right, so when you hit the end of that, you're going to come across the Stratheden Path. So this Stratheden Path is pretty much almost like a carriage road, so very simple, very easy. So we're gonna go head on down here, and this will take us back towards Bar Harbor, the cemetery, and the Great Meadow Loop Road. That'll take us right back into town. All right, so we have made it back to the Great Meadow Loop Road, and so this is kind of, you can go either one of ways. It just all loops around back to Bar Harbor. But we'll go ahead and finish up this loop road. I'll meet you guys back in Bar Harbor. All right, guys, as you can see, we are back here in Bar Harbor, and this is going to be the end of the video. I'm just going to do the hiking. I wanted to focus purely on getting up to Cadillac and back for this particular video. It's kind of like a test for myself, as well as a test for you guys if you ever want to try that. But, you know, you don't have to do that. You can, of course, always get the day pass and drive up to Cadillac Mountain, or you can go to the North Ridge or even the South Ridge. That gives you a little bit more of a challenge because it is twice as long as the North Ridge when it comes to Cadillac Mountain trails. But yeah, I am absolutely exhausted. I think I did about 10.5 miles from what my step counter said. So it was well worth the trek up there. But anyway, guys, if you have any specific questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. And of course, if you like the video, give it a big old thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. What are you waiting for? It's just a little push of a button and a little ring of the bell. And then you'll get all those notifications when any of my new videos come on out. And of course, if you want to help support the channel as well, I do have a Patreon account and a Buy Me a Coffee account. So I do appreciate any and all support. And once again, a big old shout out to the Ulrich family for becoming my newest patrons. Thank you so, so much, guys. I appreciate you very, very much, and all the support you guys have given me over the last couple of years. But anyway, guys, until we meet again, peace out and have a great night.